Welcome to Voices of the Valley. It's a program we love bringing to you here on ValleyHoopsInsider.com, where we interview play-by-play broadcasters, beat writers, those really following the great teams from the Missouri Valley and Ohio Valley conferences all the time, day after day, year after year. They're the ones that truly know what's going on with these teams, programs, and leagues. Smarter than me, more knowledgeable than you. We're glad to bring them to you on Voices of the Valley here, a very valuable part of the ValleyHoopsInsider.com website. This program is sponsored by the When Puede Project. The When Puede Project is a ministry that offers help and resources and medical care and food, clothing, those kinds of things to both special needs and terminally ill children in West Africa. There's a link to the site, to their site. My daughter happens to be the one running that particular ministry. There's links to the When Puede Project right here on ValleyHoopsInsider.com. You can donate if you would like, or buy products from them. They sell t-shirts and whatnot to help provide resources for these really precious, needy children in West Africa. On today's program, we caught up with Missouri State play-by-play broadcaster, Hall of Famer, old friend of ours, Art Hains. We met up in Kansas City where the Bears were playing in the Hall of Fame Classic, and just wanted to get the early impressions from Art Hains about their new head coach, Dana Ford, and the prospects of this particular season for the Missouri State Bears. We hope you enjoy this interview with Art Hains of Missouri State basketball. We're meeting with Art Hains as part of the Voices of the Valley series here on ValleyHoopsInsider.com prior to the USC game against the Bears. What do you think this two-day event is like for Missouri State? How valuable?
Very valuable. I mean, 3 home games, opportunity to get some confidence built up. New coach, he's been very well received in the Springfield area and beyond. But now this is a big stage and a step up in competition, and it's a reality check, but I think it's good for what's essentially a pretty young team.
I should have introduced you better, Hall of Fame broadcaster for Missouri State. All you people looking at this know that, but I thought, I ought to say it for the newcomers. You talked about Dana Ford. I'm a big fan of Dana Ford's. Talk about the energy, just the reception in Springfield.
Yeah, he has been a rock star from day one. I mean, the press conference was a home run. Lyndall Scranton, longtime sports writer in Springfield, tweeted, if this were a baseball game, Dana Ford scored 10 runs in the top of the first, and he's still batting. Just what he says, how he says it, the depth of his words, his candor. I mean, he will, he's just got such a good way of communicating. He'll tell you things that a lot of other coaches won't, but I mean, he's not giving away a state secret, and he's not bragging, and I mean, he's just kind of telling it the way it is.
I was just talking to Wyatt Wheeler, and I thought at the press conference last night, he said volumes to a couple of his players without ever using their names, and I thought that was super effective.
For example, he said, I think one of our freshmen was a little overwhelmed last night. Well, that was pretty evident from the game. But again, if you aspire, which this program does, to do great things, not necessarily this year, but in the future, then you need to see what it's like going up against opposition like this. So really good circumstance. I mean, it's a tournament. It is a tournament, but kind of an NCAA-like setting on a neutral court in a big arena. And the next 4 games, even after tonight, are away from home. And it's an opportunity to kind of have this team grow.
Murray State on Saturday night. That'll be a good test as well. Tell some of the Valley people that are looking at this on our website about Keandre Cook and Nabir Muhammad.
Well, those are the 2 junior college transfers that are playing this year. Keandre Cook has been the best player so far, 4 games in. He averaged 15 a game at Odessa College. He's averaging 18 and a half at Missouri State in Division I with 3 straight 20-point games. Really a guy that's got that elusive mid-range game, but he can attack the rim. Last night, and Nebraska made the Bears work for everything they got, he had a spin move to a double clutch to a basket and a one. And one.
With the left hand.
Yeah.
I remember.
A 3-point play, it turned out, but he's got the one-on-one skills, but he's also getting rebounds, he's getting assists, he's really a good player, and from day one, sometimes there's a learning curve for JUCO players. Now, Kabir Muhammad has been coming off the bench, but he looks good. He's also 6'5", but a very different type player. He's 6'5", about 233, more physical, more of a defender. But he stepped out and hit a three last night, which surprised everyone. Dana was here in front of us. It was one of those, yeah, bad shot, good shot. But, that was unexpected. But, I mean, the stage was not too big for him either. So those are a couple of guys that I think to go with the three seniors and then the graduate transfer, Josh Webster, I think will be a pretty good nucleus for this year.
Yeah, team looks pretty good so far. Tough last part of the game against Nebraska last night. I thought they played good for about 28, 30 minutes, and last 10 weren't so pretty. Let's talk about your night last night. So you're here, but you're doing Chiefs pregame, Chiefs halftime, Chiefs postgame. You put a little miles on the vocal cords last night.
I was anxiously awaiting back in the summer what time the Bears game would be that night, knowing the Chiefs were playing on Monday Night Football. And the fact the Bears played at 6 saved me. So I was able to go to the radio station in Kansas City, which is about 10 minutes from this arena, and mid-afternoon tape a lot of the pregame elements. Did about the first 45 minutes of that live. The rest of it was tape. Got back here, did the Bears game, left, went back to the radio station, 6.5 minutes to go before halftime, and hopefully nobody, as far as the listeners, knew that I was ever gone. So I was there for halftime and the rest of the game.
I knew you were going through all that, and then I think I saw one of your family members tweet out, well, we're waiting outside. We got to drive Dad from here to there or somewhere like that. And it was an adventure.
Had my son, who lives and works in Kansas City, pick me up at the radio station, drop me off here because I didn't want to have to mess with parking, and, I'm kind of on a time frame. My wife dropped the car off in the media lot, and I was able to get right to it and get out of there. So thankfully, everything worked out.
Talk a little bit about what you anticipate for this Bears team in Valley play. I mean, you've seen them enough now to get a little bit of a grasp on who they are, and obviously we haven't been able to see Jared Ritter yet.
Right, and that was a surprise. I mean, everybody's saying now that, that was the rule and that's what we expected. I don't think so. On media day, they were expecting he would be immediately eligible, having sat out all of last year as a transfer from Xavier. But, of course, the letter of the law is he went to class 2 weeks at Xavier in the fall semester last year, so he's going to end up having to sit out a year and a half and lose a semester of eligibility. He'll be the best shooter on the team. He was Mr. Basketball in Missouri 2 years ago, so that will add a lot. The fans are so enamored with Coach Ford's persona and with how hard the team plays. They really appreciate defense, and last night both teams were pressing each other there for a while, and it was something to see. So I think style points count. I don't think the fans are going to expect too much in the one-loss column this year, but I think all signs are that this program is headed in the right direction.
It's Art Hains, voice of the Bears, and before we get out of here, how long for you at Missouri State? There was a little blip when you weren't there, but a long, long time. And are they going to name the microphone after you or something someday?
This is my 38th year of doing Bears basketball. Like you said, I was there, I was gone for 4, and I've been back since 1985.
Amazing career. You had football Saturday, basketball and football and basketball yesterday. They keep you moving.
It does. I mean, the football is over now as far as Missouri State, so now we're just down to basketball and the Chiefs. But that's going to involve next week, Harry, we go to Air Force for a game on Wednesday night and then go on to Oregon State for a game late Saturday afternoon. I'll have an all-night flight back to KCI for a Chiefs game the next day, so won't have a motel expense. My motel will be on Delta or whatever airline I'm on, but, we kind of do what we need to do to get where we need to be.
Excellent. That's my friend Art Hains. You've been watching Voices of the Valley here on ValleyHoopsInsider.com. Well, that was our latest edition of Voices of the Valley. Our thanks to Art Hains, play-by-play broadcaster of the Missouri State Bears, for joining us in this particular program. Don't forget, Voices of the Valley, sponsored by the Wen Puede Project, helping special needs children and terminally ill children in West Africa. There are links to their ministry, to their site, right here on valleyhoopsinsider.com. You can donate or even buy t-shirts and whatnot that they're selling to help provide medical care, feeding tubes, feeding, and resources to both those children and their parents in West Africa. I'm Harry Schroeder, editor of the site. Thanks for joining us today. Remember, since you've been there, make it a better place. You've been watching Voices of the Valley right here on valleyhoopsinsider.com.